Okay, so now we'll take you through the actual cutting of the mount. Most important thing initially is that everything is clean. Your hands are clean, the surfaces are clean, because it's a precision process that you've got to get right. And any marks on it at all that you don't want is going to spoil the whole effect. We're going to mount a 10 by 8 print here, and this is going to be put onto a piece of white mount board at 12/16. So first of all, what we have to do is cut this to a 12/16. Simple case of measuring it and then cutting via the guillotine that we use on that. Okay, so we're just going to, first of all, when we've got this, we're going to check that we've got our edges that are not bent, because often when you've got card, you'll notice that it's been dropped on the floor even when you're back in the shop and you've got these edges. Get the corners, and if not, create one that's really nice and sharp. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to take our 16 inches along this side here. So we're going to just make a small mark in pencil, and we're always using pencil. Again, the trouble with using pen in this process is that pen can smudge, and it can either ruin your own print, or when it's handed in and it's put on top of other people's, it can smudge from there. So we'll first of all make the cut for the 16 inches, which we've marked here. And we can do that on the guillotine, but it's quite important that this guillotine runs in only particular one way. The blade is facing, as it were, this side, if that makes sense, this side. So we'll pop this under here. We line it up so that our pencil mark just hits the edge of the guillotine here. And then we simply bring the cutter gently along and make our cut. We know then that this is 16 inches. So we're going to now make our next cut, and that will be the 12 inch. So we've got the 16 along here, so we're going to cut a 12 inch here. So we'll mark off again at the 12, there it is, in pencil again, and we'd be working on the back of the board. This actually is white either side, but if we were working with a colour and we mount them to colour, you always mark on the reverse. Again, that will be placed so that the mark that we've made comes up against the edge of the guillotine, and we cut through, making sure we don't go the other way with the cutter. If you do, you'll scraggle your card. Now we're going to put our 10/8 photograph in here with a beveled cut. Okay, so when you're printing in the darkroom, it's a good idea to leave a border around any print you're doing. Simply then, we've got something that the bevel edge can come onto. If it's flush, then you're going to lose a bit more of the print, which can be a problem. What we have to do is to find central parts of the card. We're going to actually mount this in a central position on this card. And the first thing we're going to do is just make a couple of light marks on the edge of the print, on the border of the print, about 2 millimeters in from the print edge itself. So there's one, and there's the other, about 2 millimeters in. And that's where the mount is going to come and sit on to. We then have to find the central point of the card we're going to put it on in relation to the 10/8 print that we've got. And we don't do it by guesswork, and we don't do it by complex mathematics. We can do it simply by what we call a nulling ruler. And a nulling ruler is quite expensive if you're going to buy it, but you can actually make one in the spirit of Blue Peter. Bit of tape, and if we place this tape on an ordinary ruler, and we've got 50 in the middle here, this is a meter ruler, we've got 50 in the middle, and obviously this side from the 50 we've actually got 50 centimetres, and this side we've got 50 centimetres. Now all we're going to do is put a piece of tape over that here, and if it's thin enough tape you can still see the numbers underneath. We're then going to get, in this instance, a black pen, and on the 50 point we're going to call that 0. So you can see it there as 0. We're then going to work outside in centimetres and call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. 25, and we'll come and do the same this way. So this time we're working the other way, and we're doing again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring our card, and first of all we're going to find the middle point on the longer axis. So we bring the card up to the ruler, address it to the ruler, and because we've got this nulling system now, it's very simple to find out where the centre of this card is simply by getting the same amount on the right hand side as you have on the left hand side. And we can see this here is just about over the 15, and again just about over the 15 here. So if we actually just make a little mark in there, we've got the centre of that card. If we then address the print to that, we do the same thing. What we do is we look at how much we've got on the right hand side and how much we've got on the left hand side, and we get them so they're actually equidistant. And this one is just under the 9 on each edge. And what we do then, we just mark our card, remember on the reverse side, with 2 little lines. We then use the cutting board that we've got here, and the cutting board is actually, as you can see, got a series of small measurements within it, grids within it. And the reason for that is, if you line up your print along one of these edges and get your pencil mark on one of the stronger of those lines, bring it across so that the other edge runs along another of those stronger edges, and then with our ruler draw right across so you're following the dark black line, and that line then is equidistant all the way along. Again, we've not had to do any measurement with it. We can turn the board around and we can do the same onto this side. So there we are. Put it onto there, make sure that this line is running along here. Again onto the heavier line here. Bring it so that the ruler finds the heavier line at this edge, and run down with a fairly light pencil mark again. So that's found that area here that this print will sit on. Now we're going to find where it sits on the longer axis here. We do exactly the same thing. We come in 2 mm with 2 marks onto the print. We bring the nulling ruler in again, and first of all we get the print, or the card rather, in the middle, and this time it's just above the 20 on each side, so we know that we've got the middle here. We can then address the print on its longer axis this time, and we find that it's going to be around about 11.5 either side. So what we do is we mark the 11.5 here, and we mark it on this side here. We then go through the same process of aligning up on the cutting mat to make our final mark across here. And across to there, turn it round again. And again, here's our mark here. We're putting it onto one of the heavier lines along here. And we're going to make a mark across here. Now we've got this area here, which is the area we're going to remove from this piece of card. It's a good idea to just mark that out with the pencil so you know that that's the area you want to cut out. And this is particularly important if you have one bigger, say one sheet, and you're cutting 3, 4 or 5 mounts within the one sheet. You've got so many lines, and then sometimes it's a bit confusing as to what you're taking out and what you're leaving. Marking in there means that we're definitely going to be taking that part out.